The biggest question surrounding Colorado and Deion Sanders is how does he replace his son and star quarterback Shedeur Sanders? Well, according to recent reports, it appears he's zeroing in on a transfer portal target.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? This is Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow, become an everydayer. My everydayers, they tune in every single day. They make this show possible. They grow this community. We have some fun in the comments. We do it every single day. Let's talk about it. Colorado obviously is going to have a big offseason in terms of building up the roster again. They're set to lose a handful of key contributors: Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, a couple of offensive linemen, wide receiver, their whole entire wide receiver core, a couple defensive linemen, linebackers, a lot of needs, a lot of wants. But I think the biggest question is how do they replace Shedeur Sanders, right? He's the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award winner. I think he's probably the best quarterback in college football. Just doesn't make mistakes, throws a great deep ball, great arm, great accuracy, really smart, really intelligent. But Colorado doesn't have a lot of depth behind him. So what does Coach Prime do? He goes out and gets a 5-star quarterback in Julian Lewis. However, I brought this up the other day, and a lot of people got upset with this, but I said it wouldn't shock me if Colorado goes after a portal quarterback, because you know why? Because Coach Prime wants to win right now, and he wants to contend. And in past years, starting a true freshman quarterback right away is not something that we see, nor is it something that often leads to success. So it doesn't shock me. I wanted to first present to the quarterback who they're after. It's Kaidon Salter of Liberty. He started his career at Tennessee. He was a blue chip 4-star quarterback, got dismissed from the team in the spring, ended up at Liberty, and in 2023 absolutely blew up. He was the Conference USA MVP, led Liberty to its first undefeated regular season in program history. On top of that, threw for 32 touchdowns and also rushed for 12 on the ground. This past year, Liberty went 8-3. He threw for 1,800 yards and 15 touchdowns, and then rushed for an additional 7. So he's a dual threat guy, super experienced, right? He has 1 year of eligibility left, which I think while a lot of people want to see Julian Lewis right away, and a lot of people think, you know what, he's not coming to Colorado to sit the bench. I think Julian Lewis knows that Coach Prime has his best interest at hand, right? Coach Prime wouldn't do this just for S and G's, right? He's not going to bring in Julian Lewis just for the optics and then be like, okay, now that we got a 5-star quarterback, everyone can get off my back and I'm going to make these moves. No, he wants to win right away. And if Julian Lewis isn't ready right away, Colorado doesn't have a solid situation behind him. We'll just put it that way. So Kaidon Salter, dual threat quarterback. First of all, I'm going to talk about why I like Kaidon Salter, and then I'll talk about the Julian Lewis aspect of it. First of all, he's a dual threat guy, right? And I think to succeed in Boulder right now, you need to be able to make plays with your legs. And Shedeur Sanders, I think there's one criticism of him that you could have is that he held onto the ball too long at times. Now, he greatly improved this past season, but still there's quite a few games where there was 1 or 2 sacks and they were both on him because he was holding the ball too long. He's not known as a runner. He could run, but he does not known for it. Kaidon Salter is a dual threat athlete that I think opens up the playbook a bit more. I think it helps hide the fact that Colorado's offense line hasn't been good at protecting the passer, because when in doubt, he's going to make a play, right? I think I would take Shedeur Sanders 10 times out of 10 over every quarterback in college football. That being said, Shedeur Sanders wasn't known for taking off and making plays with his legs. He was known for extending plays and throwing the ball downfield, which is great. But when you have an offensive line as weak as Colorado's, having a guy like Salter mask their flaws, and also it opens things up in the RPO game because teams kind of knew that Shedeur wasn't going to run. With Salter, you have to respect it, and so maybe that helps out the run game as well. So I really like I like the thought process here. Salter is ranked as the number 31 transfer in the portal, number 5 quarterback at the time I'm looking at this. And I think he'd be an interesting addition. Other programs that are after him, which I think kind of adds to the rivalry and the beef, is Syracuse, which I mean Colorado has no beef with, and Florida State. Coach Prime going up against his former program for a top-ranked quarterback transfer. Pretty interesting, right? But again, I think Salter brings a new dynamic to the offense with his ability to run and throw. And I think it also takes a lot of pressure off Julian Lewis, who remind everyone should be a senior in high school next year. He's a junior right now. He reclassed, so is basically skipping his senior year of high school. And I just wanted to go through, because I know a lot of people are going to say he's not going to come to Colorado to sit. He didn't do that. He didn't sign up for that. Well, let's just look at the quarterbacks who rank as the top quarterbacks in the country the past few years and what they've done, right? So I'm going off of 24/7 Sports' composite rankings, and this past year they had 3 5-star quarterbacks. DJ Lagway, who didn't start over Graham Mertz, and the only reason he started over Graham Mertz was due to injury. I think he probably was going to take over as a starter eventually anyway, if Graham didn't get injured, but DJ Lagway did not start right away. Dylan Raiola had the keys to the Nebraska program from day one, and I think even if Matt Rule doesn't want to admit that, I think he did, right? They kind of had that same thought process that a lot of people have, where it's like, why would we bring in this highly touted quarterback to have him sit behind whoever it is, right? Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to some people, but Dylan Raiola, 5-star quarterback, didn't have the best year. He threw for 2,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. And he started off the year pretty strong. And then he had a stretch from, let's see, it was September 28th to October 26th, where he threw for 1 touchdown and 5 interceptions. So not great. Obviously, Nebraska brought in Dana Holgorsen. They made an offensive coordinator change and publicly called out some players, but Dylan Raiola didn't have the best freshman year. He, I think, showed some shining moments, like his game against Illinois, for instance, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns. His game against Colorado, 23 of 30 for a touchdown. He completed 76% of his passes. There was moments there, and I think every quarterback's different, right? Some quarterbacks are ready to play right away, others not so much. And then lastly, the last 5-star quarterback in this class, Julian Sanders, committed to Alabama, transferred to Ohio State, obviously didn't play that much because of Will Howard, so he didn't play. So 2 of the 3 did not start right away, and the ones that did play, DJ Lagway, I think, found his groove later in the season. I think Lagway was the exception, right? I would say Dylan Raiola had a C+, B- type of year. DJ Lagway had about an A- A grade type of year, and I think he's probably the reason that Billy Napier's got his job saved. Let's go to the class before that. 5-star Arch Manning has not started. He started a couple games in Quinn Ewers' absence, but has not been the starter yet. I think he's probably going to be ready next year. Nico from Tennessee, he didn't start right away, right? They had Joe Milton. So there's a lot of cases to be made. Like, yes, it's exciting to see how these quarterbacks do, but let's continue on, because there was 5 5-stars in the class of 2023. Dante Moore at UCLA had a very up and down year. He left UCLA as a player who they went to him, they went away from him. They brought in Ethan Garbers a few times, and he transferred. He's currently sitting behind Dylan Gabriel and learning, which is something that he wanted to do because obviously he was not ready his freshman year, which saw him complete 53% of his passes, throw 11 touchdowns, 9 picks. Clearly he wasn't ready. Jackson Arnold, same thing. He didn't play right away. In fact, they kind of went to Dylan Gabriel, and then they're like, okay, we have this 5-star quarterback that we're excited about. And Jackson Arnold is currently in the transfer portal after being benched for a 3-star quarterback, and he's probably going to end up at Mississippi State, which is probably one of the worst programs in the SEC at this time. And then Malachi Nelson didn't see the light of day at USC and is now the backup at Boise State. So just because you land a 5-star quarterback, all of this to say, doesn't mean that he's going to come in right away and play. If Colorado can somehow make sure that Julian Lewis knows, hey, you're going to get the keys to the program when it's your turn, but we want to make sure you're ready. If Kaidon Salter is willing to come to Colorado and thinks that he can help Colorado contend right away, win a Big 12 title, why would Colorado not take that opportunity, right? You want to win games, right? And I know a lot of people talk about, well, Julian Lewis, that's not what he signed up for. Julian Lewis, he knows what it takes, right? I don't think anyone was going to promise him the job I think people promised him an opportunity to compete for the job. And at the end of the day, we have to see how this plays out. But I personally think that Colorado taking a transfer portal quarterback wouldn't be the worst thing. You guys comment below. I know everyone's going to agree or disagree with this one. Does Colorado need a guy like Kaidon Salter, who's a dual threat, veteran quarterback that can also give Julian Lewis some time to learn the system and get ready? Let me know what you guys think. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Colorado's Alamo Bowl opponent, BYU. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Omaha Steaks. Omaha. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite. And right now, you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience. And the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easier to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouthwatering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. That's 50% off at OMAHA steaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchase may apply. Christmas is coming up. Go get someone a nice little Omaha steak. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. Join my community of everydayers who we have fun, right? We have fun talking about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. Some people agree with me. Some people disagree with me. That's all the fun. Let's talk about Colorado's bowl game versus BYU because I do think it's an interesting one. And first of all, I think a lot of people were hoping for like Colorado versus Alabama, Colorado versus Miami. There's these things called bowl tie-ins. Like things happen, right? So I'll break down why Colorado's playing BYU, and then I'll talk about the game itself. So it's 2 Big 12 teams. They're ranked, which is exciting. And I think a lot of people are confused why they're playing against a team that they're going to be playing next year. Well, because of conference realignment, the Alamo Bowl had tie-ins with the Pac-12 and the Big 12. So the Alamo Bowl usually took the best non-Big 12/Pac-12 winner each year, and clearly they picked Colorado. They picked BYU. Colorado was the Pac-12 legacy, and it's not clear how long this will. Or actually, it's going to go until 2025. Excuse me. It is clear. But I think a lot of people are upset with it, and it doesn't make sense to them because they wanted a more sexy matchup. Well, this is a great matchup for Colorado. One, you get a chance to sort of go against another top team in the Big 12. And I think whether people want to admit that or not, seeing Colorado play against a top 25 team who 10-2 on the year, they had one of the better defenses in the Big 12, only gave up 241 points this season, which is the best in the Big 12. Offensively, they were solid offensively, but you just look at how they match up, and Colorado's currently favored by 2 points. ESPN's FPI gives them a 58.5% chance of winning, which is pretty cool. It's going to be taking place in San Antonio, Texas, and this Colorado team, I think, people are forgetting, while it would have been interesting to see Colorado play against Alabama or Miami, right? Those teams had different tie-ins with different bowls, or they got selected by different bowl games. This is a chance for Colorado to secure its first top 25 win on the year. Let's not forget, Colorado, at the time they played against ranked teams, when they played against ranked teams this year, which was one occasion, they played Kansas State, who was ranked, they lost. They played against other teams who ended up being ranked, but they did not play against outside of Kansas State, they did not play against a single team that was ranked at the time they were playing. So you get a chance to beat up on a top 20 opponent. You get a chance to show, hey, we could run this Big 12, right? This is kind of like the Big 12 championship that many people wanted but didn't get because of tiebreakers. And I mean, Arizona State was deserving. They handled business. But man, I think Colorado would have put up a much better fight than what we saw from Iowa State. And I think it would have been a great matchup to see Colorado, Arizona State, or Colorado, BYU, or BYU, Arizona State. But no, we got Iowa State instead, and they got absolutely torched. And I know people were like, "Oh, we wanted a bigger brand." Well, it's not about that, right? You play these games to win, and obviously it'd be cool to play against so and so X team or Y team. But Colorado has a chance to win a bowl game for the first time in a hot minute. They have a chance to beat a top 25 teams for the first time this season, and they have a chance to sort of end the year on a high note, which is pretty important considering Coach Prime's trying to build something here, right? This bowl game takes place in I think December 28th is December 28th. So maybe you get some portal guys, but Colorado has not won a bowl game, and I think people forget this. And I think in the grand scheme of just like, hey, we want Colorado to do this, hey, we want Colorado to do that. Colorado hasn't won a bowl game since 2004. They won the Houston Bowl they won the Houston Bowl to finish the year 8-4. The following year, they made it to a bowl game, the Champ Sports Bowl. They lost. In 2007, they were 6-7 on the year. They lost Independence Bowl. 2016, they lost the Alamo Bowl. 2020, which was the COVID year, Carl Durrell year, they lost Alamo Bowl. So it's been 20 years since Colorado's won a bowl game. I think lost in the discussions of like, oh, the sexier matchup, or oh, Colorado shouldn't play this bowl game because they didn't make the playoff. I think the people forget that this program as a whole has been whiffing on success for 20 years, right? This is a huge testament to what Deion Sanders has built. Obviously, finishing the year 10-3 would be huge. It'd be the program's best record since 2016. And it'd be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be one of their best records in program history. Because this Colorado team, like I said, has not been successful in past years. Dating back to 2000, we'll just go to the 2000 range. They've had 1, 2, and this is me counting live to make sure I don't miss any. They've had 3 seasons with 9 or more wins. Deion Sanders is doing that in year 2, which is a pretty big deal. He's has a chance to lead Colorado to their first bowl victory in 20 years. And it's the last time that we get to see Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Deion Sanders, all these guys suit up for the Buffs one final time. So I think rather than complaining about this bowl game, it's a big honor. Obviously, it's not like the Rose Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl, or it's not a playoff game. Doesn't mean it means any less, right? It means a lot to the program. For people who say this doesn't mean anything, those people don't actually like college football. They don't love the sport. They just love the sort of the big flashy storylines. Don't listen to them. This game means a lot for Colorado, means a lot for the program, means a lot for Coach Prime and his legacy at Colorado. And I'm pretty excited for this game, and I think you guys should be too. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Deion Sanders' message to the players in the transfer portal. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I'm Kevin Borba. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and you guys know we have a lot to cover in the coming weeks because it's transfer portal season, and you know Colorado is going to be making some moves. And I think Deion Sanders had a really unique message for everyone that's entering the portal, considering entering the portal. And I think it's pretty spot on. So in regards to players entering the portal or guys who are just out there looking for the best opportunity or whatever, this is what he had to say. To many of the portal young men that's looking and searching for the right situation, you're going to be vetted thoroughly by us, and I pray you know the difference of being offered a bag and being offered a blessing. Ask Grandma Nem what I mean. I ain't hard to find. Clearly, he's telling guys, hey, don't chase these big NIL opportunities because the right opportunity, you'll not only be the right situation for you on the field, but be the right situation for you off the field. And I think we saw this a lot, and we probably will continue to see this, right? We see guys all the time, even programs really, where they throw a bunch of money at players, or programs or players leave a program so they could go get a bunch of money, and then they end up in a situation where it's like, oh, it didn't really work out. We kind of thought you'd be better. Or it's like, okay, great, now that guy is a villain of that program because he chased a bag and didn't really pay attention to the scheme of that program. He didn't pay attention to their past development of players at that position. So I really like what Deion Sanders had to say. I think that's kind of a message that's sort of combating, I don't say Colorado's NIL issues, because I feel like it's getting better, but Colorado's not going to be dishing out $5 million to, like, oh, we're going to get you for $1 million, we're going to get you for $1 million. That's not Colorado's game right now. And I think a lot of people don't really know that. And so I think he's trying to let people know, hey, you come to Colorado, you're going to get exposure, and those NIL deals will find you, rather than chasing a program for the NIL and hoping that things on the field will work out as well. So appreciate you guys for tuning in to Locked On Buffs, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. I will continue to have in-depth transfer portal coverage every single day as the portal is open. It officially opened today, and I think Colorado is going to be making tons of moves as they look to rebuild and contend for the college football playoff and the Big 12 title in 2024. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, become an everyday, or give me 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast. And I hope all of you guys have a great start to your week and get that Christmas shopping done.